Hi everyone, meet me again, Ilham. In this video, I will tell you about a very interesting film. This film is titled Voice B2. This film tells the adventures of three friends named Seon Jun, Hyeon Tae, and Kim Boom, who live a life full of challenges while maintaining their friendship. The film begins with a fight scene of a teenager named Seung Jin. He managed to easily defeat his opponent. It turned out that Seung Jin was incited by a student named Hishik, so that thugs from other schools tried to attack Seung Jin, who was known to be good at fighting. As a result of the fight, one of Seung Jin's close friends, named Hyeon Tae, experienced rough treatment from an angry Hishik. Hishik asked Hyeon Tae not to be arrogant because he felt he had a friend who was great at fighting. "Actually, how are you?" Seung Jin, who witnessed the incident, immediately planned to retaliate physically. Long story short, Seung Jin and Hyeon Tae have been best friends since childhood. Although they did not go to school together, their closeness was very close. Unfortunately, these two friends have very different personalities. Seung Jin is a teenager who is good at fighting and is feared by other students. Meanwhile, Hyeon Tae doesn't like fighting at all because he feels very weak. One day after school, Hyun Jin and Hyeon Tae find a coupon for a fighting contest, which promises a cash prize for the winner. However, Hyeon Tae, who doesn't like violence, immediately convinces Seung Jin that the coupon is just a scam. Not long after, Seung Jin sees Hishik walking with a girl. This makes Seung Jin feel the need to avenge Hishik's treatment of his best friend Round. Hishik, who was shocked, did not dare to fight back and just accepted the beating. This incident made Hishik feel hatred and want to avenge Seung Jin. He also looked for a thug to chase Seung Jin as a form of revenge. Furthermore, the scene highlights moments of togetherness between Seung Jin and Hyeon Tae. They often spend time together, both while eating ramen, until being accepted by their families as part of the family. However, when Hyeon Tae was about to go on a date with his girlfriend, Seung Jin felt jealous because Hyeon Tae prioritized his girlfriend over Seung Jin. This situation occurs because Seung Jin is known as a person who is difficult to approach, and only Hyeon Tae is his close friend who is always loyal to accompany him. As a result of this feeling, an argument occurs that makes Seung Jin offended, and finally, he leaves alone. On the other hand, Hyeon Tae meets his girlfriend, but this time, he feels guilty and thoughts about Seung Jin interfere with his concentration while dating. This guilt encourages Hyeon Tae to immediately go home and pick up Seung Jin at their usual gathering place. Seung Jin feels very disappointed with Hyeon Tae. He also ignores calls from his best friend. But not long after that, Hishib appears and challenges Seung Jin to face him. Here, Hishib also comes with two of his men to help in the plan to defeat Seung Jin. Seung Jin is forced to face Hishir and his two men alone. However, it turns out that this is not a difficult challenge for him. Witnessing this incident, the big boys rush to help beat Seung Jin. However, Joseph Webb stops him and tells him to go home, because he feels that Seung Jin is his responsibility. And as expected, Yoo-heb and Seung Jin fought one-on-one. The fight between Yoo-heb and Seung Jin was fierce. Seung Jin even managed to block Joseph's destructive blow using a stone. Unfortunately, Big Boy suddenly appeared to save Joseph. Finally, an exciting fight began between him and Seung Jin. Meanwhile, Hyeon Tae arrived at the park but did not find Seung Jin. He only saw his bag that Seung Jin had left. Not long after, Hyeon Tae accidentally found Seung Jin in an abandoned building fighting with Big Boy. However, at that time, Seung Jin was already battered by Big Boy and was almost helpless. On the other hand, Hyeon Tae could only hide and watch his best friend being beaten up by Big Boy. In fact, Hishir also looked for an opportunity to beat Seung Jin himself when Seung Jin was weak. Seeing his best friend who was almost dying, Hyeon Tae could only cry and feel disappointed in himself, because he could not do anything and let his best friend almost die. When Seung Jin tried to call Hyeon Tae for help, he deliberately didn't pick up the phone because he was so disappointed in himself. After that incident, their friendship became more strained. Seung In started to avoid meeting his best friend and never picked up the phone. He didn't want to chat at all. However, this meeting between the two of them became the beginning of the destruction of their friendship. Hyeon Tae said goodbye and promised to prove himself someday. A few days later, Hyeon Tae came to a wrestling venue where he wanted to challenge a professional wrestler. Hyeon Tae took the coupon that Seung In had found earlier and bet to challenge the professional wrestler. In that place, there was someone named Kim Boom. He became the organizer and companion of the professional wrestler. Before the fight, Hyeon Tae was given a rule. If he won, he would get a bigger commission. But if he lost, he had to give up his money and Kim Boom would get 30% of the bet money. In that fight, Hyeon Tae named himself Hyeon Taeyeon. Finally, the fight began. Even though Hyeon Tae was scared because this was his first fight, he still tried to give his best to prove himself and restore the friendship that was almost destroyed. With the courage he had, Hyeon Tae could only avoid it without putting up any resistance. Fear cornered him. But suddenly, Hyeon Tae remembered the incident when Seung In was beaten, and this raised his spirits. The victory made Hyeon Tae get his commission. However, his goal was not money, but to hone his fighting skills so that he could prove that he was also able to fight like Seung In. In accordance with his last promise, Hyeon Tae wanted to prove to Seung In that he could not be underestimated anymore and was able to protect his best friend when in trouble. Kim Bum, who saw Hyeon Tae's abilities, tried to work with him. He wanted to make Hyeon Tae his partner to find other professional wrestlers. Day by day, Hyeon Tae diligently carried out his role as a wrestler. He even observed and studied the opponent's movements after each match. Meanwhile, Seung In felt abandoned by Hyeon Tae and began to feel furious. He thought that their friendship was ruined by Hisk's previous actions. So, he wanted to beat up the Hisk men he met on the street to vent his anger. Seung In's actions made Hisik start looking for Seung In's whereabouts by visiting Hyeon Tae in his class. However, Hyeon Tae didn't know anything and could only stay silent. He didn't fight back at all. He deliberately hid his abilities so that other students would not find out. Because he did not get the information he wanted, Hisik finally left Hyeon Tae. One day, Seung In caught a girl in his class who was trying to put a letter in her bag. The girl's name was Kyeon. However, Kyeon denied it and said that the letter was ordered by his teacher to be given to Seung In. Seung In, who was a sensitive man and happened to need a friend, invited Kyeon to hang out together at night. Kyeon was very happy with the invitation until he got drunk on that beautiful night with Seung In. On the other hand, Hyeon Tae's story took a different direction. He continued to look for great fighters to validate his abilities. Kim Bum finally found a tough opponent with a fairly high price. According to rumors, the opponent had never been defeated, and Kim Bum suspected that the opponent was using illegal drugs. As expected, the opponent underestimated Hyeon Tae because his physical appearance looked less than convincing. However, Kim Bum still believed that Hyeon Tae was able to defeat his opponent. At the beginning of the fight, Hyeon Tae felt pressured by the attacks he received from his opponent. Seeing the situation, Kim Bum intended to stop the fight. But surprisingly, Hyeon Tae turned things around with a leg attack, which made his position more advantageous. He used all his abilities and anger to finish off his opponent. This incident surprised Kim Bum and his friends with Hyeon Tae's success, who was able to defeat a fighter who had never been defeated before. Hyeon Tae's victory certainly made Kim Bo happy because he could get more commission. In fact, Kim Bo gave Hyeon Tae a vacation so he could enjoy the money he had earned so far. But Hyeon Tae didn't think about that, because his main goal was to become the strongest fighter. Currently, Hyeon Tae's only desire is to fight Sunjo. He asked Kim Boom to find a group fight, and this was approved by Kingdom. They will be fighting partners. Hyeon Tae's fighting partner is Kim Boom himself. On the other hand, Kyeon and Seung In's relationship is getting closer. Kyeon invites Seung In to watch a movie, and Seung In, who feels lonely, accepts the offer. But while they are waiting for the bus to go to the cinema, Seung In got a cell phone from Hyeon Tae, who wanted to meet soon. Here, Songjin canceled watching with Kyeon and chose to meet Hyeon Tae at the game store. But their meeting was not in accordance with Seungjin's expectations. Hyeon Tae ignored his arrival and only said that he would prove something to Seungjin. Hyeon Tae also refused to go to eat and play games together. Songjin was annoyed and thought Hyeon Tae had changed. He thought he was shunned because he lost to fight with Hyeon before. Seungjin assumed that Hyeon Tae did not want to be friends anymore because he considered him weak and could not protect Hyeon Tae with bad people. This misunderstanding made Seungjin join Hyeon and intend to revenge to be recognized again as Hyeon Tae's friend. At night, Hyeon Tae and Kimbo continued their battle, where they became couples in group battles. Initially, people doubted this ability. Now we sit there. Yes, which one? Nothing can. But apparently, they won the fight, with bets that were repeatedly folding, greater than the previous Kimbung. On the other hand, Joseph came to the Hyeon to ask for money loans. But the Hyeon refused on the grounds that he was still a student who did not have money. However, after Joseph left, Seojun came with anger that overflowed and taught a pitcher. This incident made a situation changing his mind and called Joseph back to ask for help. The next day, Hyeon intends to beat Seojin's best friend Hyeon Tae. However, one of his friends said that Hyunjin was no longer related to Hyeon Tae. So Hyeon was looking for another target that became a close friend of Seojin. Apparently, the threat given by Hyeon was beating Seojin. Sure enough, when Seojin wanted to go watching with Kyeon, suddenly Kyeon came with a battered face. Seeing the closest people as victims, Seojin and Hyeon set the date and place to fight again. Hearing that, Hyeon Tae also met Hyunjin to say that he needed something. On Seungjin's meeting day with Hyeon, the tense atmosphere enveloped the location. As usual, Hyeon came with his men from Big Boy. Supposedly, Joseph was also present, but he had problems with his boss in the office, so he could not come and be represented by Big Boy. In the battle, Songjin did not want to fight with the situation, but begged that the holiday only beat himself, as long as there was no feud between them and there was no threat to the people closest to Seojin. But Hyeon did not obey Seojin's request and continued to launch a blow after blow to Seojin. Joseph, who just came, was surprised to see the defeat of Seojin. Shortly thereafter, suddenly Hyeon Tae came wearing a horse's head mask that Seojin used to wear when saving Hyeon Tae. Initially, the arrival of Hyeon Tae was welcomed with blasphemy by Hyeon and his friends. But without further ado, Hyeon Tae immediately beat them all alone. After successfully defeating his urge and men, now Hyeon Tae will fight Joseph. Of course, this is an easy battle for Hyeon Tae because he has practiced with a professional wrestler. But when Joseph began to be cornered, suddenly Big Boy came to help him. This is where the fierce battle between Hyeon Tae and Big Boy began. Hyeon Tae skinen against Big Boy because Big Boy is a former tough street ruler. Meanwhile, Hyeon Tae began to be cornered by Joseph. Kim Bum tried to help Hyeon Tae, but unfortunately, Big Boy came to help Joseph and slam Kim Bum until the joint was broken. Kim Bum can only be silent while beaten by Big Boy. The fight now only lives between Hyeon Tae, who is weak, and Big Boy, who is not forgiveness. Hyeon Tae can only surrender when beaten up to Big Boy. Seojun, who saw his friend beaten, gathered the power to get up and try to stop the fight. Well, from here, Seojun realized that actually, Hyeon Tae made a battle to be more powerful in order to fight with Seojun. The last incident, where Hyeon Tae couldn't save Seojun from Big Boy, making Hyeon Tae feel guilty and wanted to prove that he could also fight without depending on Seonjun. After facing so many trials and conflicts, their relationship finally returned tightly. Sunjun, Hyeon Tae, and Kim Byom returned to good friends as they used to forgive each other and realized the importance of their friendship on this trip. Sunjun, Hyeon Tae, and Kim Bum have proven that their friendship is not only limited to words and films. See, the next video.